Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunny Morning Heat Broadcasting at El Dorado Royal Resort, the best resort in Riviera Maya here in Mexico.
Absolutely, we've got an amazing facility here, guys, and so join us here live on the couch today. We've got lots of breaking news headlines for you, and one of the other stories that's caught our eye, of course, is International Women's Day. And many congratulations, ladies. Felicidades to all the ladies. And it's not just about Mother's Day. I mean, this is International Women's Day, so it's for everybody.
Exactly. Every single woman in the world.
So if you don't have children, today is your day. Make sure whoever loves you the most is taking you out for dinner tonight or doing something special. And have a wonderful day, ladies. And especially if you're here with us today, here at the resort, treat yourself to a spa and get him to pay for it.
Exactly. No, actually, better yet, gentlemen, please bring your beautiful wife or significant other to the spa.
Absolutely.
And take care of that.
You take care of it. Absolutely. Let him take care of all the
Pay
details.
for that. No. It's like you as a gentleman, you love your wife, and that's a nice gift you want to give to her, right?
Right.
So.
That's the way to do it. That's the protocol, okay? How we do it down here. Doing things right. It's awesome.
Exactly.
The
Always
voice
right.
of reason. We love Sylvia, isn't it? Today's other top story we're looking at is Kronos Group. Now, to many of you, I'm sure you haven't heard of them until today. If you picked up today's newspapers, you found out that a Canadian marijuana company has launched on the NASDAQ. Now, this is a news story. I mean, in terms of, it's the first time that a marijuana company has launched on a major stock exchange. I mean, on the NASDAQ technical stock exchange. They've been on the Toronto Stock Exchange for 3 years. Now, the company's stock value is over $1.5 billion. So that should tell you something. If you're a would-be investor and you're saying this morning, this kind of excites me. I kind of like the idea of investing in marijuana, but is it safe to invest? You know, we've been, up until now, nobody's known really about the volatility of that particular segment of the stock market. But I can tell you, I've been doing my homework on it, and I've been talking to some of the Bloomberg analysts, and they put this stock, it's had a 25% rise. It's been the biggest exchange-traded fund of the year. So this is a really, really interesting investment. But, you know, taking away the financial side, what about the ethical side, Sylvia? What do you think about investing in marijuana?
Well, actually, Elliot, whether you run and get involved and get your stocks for marijuana, or you start raising marijuana.
Okay.
Because so far it's so good. Well, exactly what you are saying. I mean, if the market and the tendency of the market is going up, then definitely it would definitely be a good investment, especially because did you know that? Well, everybody knows so far that it has some medicinal ingredients, right?
Yeah.
And so the cannabidiol and also the tetrahydrocannabidiol. So the last one, the tetrahydrocannabidiol, that actually it's a painful relief, and it's being used in some diseases like cancer and some other. You know, when people get inflammation in certain areas where it gets a pain.
Maybe arthritis, something so painful, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some others. And there are actually 400 ingredients. And 60 of them, so far, 60 of them are medicinal, and they don't know about the rest. Now, but there's a downside, I mean, about the medicinal factor, because, of course, if we're talking about a prescription on this is not talking about, you should go and knock out yourself, right? Knock yourself out on
get it over the
marijuana.
counter.
But it has to be with a doctor, you know, give you the prescription. I mean, that's a recommendation. However, when the person has an addiction to the marijuana, of course, it actually can damage the brain in certain areas, especially in the memory or the speed of your thinking, or even talking, or even reacting to something. See? So that's why some people, you say, oh, that person is really stoned.
He seems stoned, man. He seems stoned. But yeah, you know, I could totally agree with what you're saying. You know, there's upsides, there's downsides to this topic. And I think it's what makes it interesting. And, you know, for many years, people have been talking about it. I had fund managers talking to me even 3 years ago out of California. And, you know, I started offering it to clients as an investment a long time ago. And they were like, you know, I'd rather stick to the mainstream products, the Standard & Poor 500, you know, the top 500 companies. You know, yes, it's volatile, but there's that sort of, am I an ethical investor? That sort of question mark out of it, you know?
If I was going to answer exactly about the ethical side of it, which exactly for like that client of yours, he was thinking like, no, I'm not going to jump into that because it's an ethical reason. But perhaps I'm sure that there are some medicines so far where are prescribed now and they are totally legal. And then you know that you are not investing in marijuana necessarily itself, but in the medicine that contains marijuana.
Correct.
But it's just the medicine. So I probably would handle it like that if you are an investor. And well, actually many investors they really might not really care about what they're investing, but I would actually handle like that if I was a big investor. And of course I have my ethical side, and I probably, you know, I maybe would not, just like your client, invest in marijuana directly.
Yeah.
But I would do it if it's on a company who is actually making the medicine.
Making a difference to people's lives in a positive way. And I think what's interesting, of course, that this is a Canadian company. And as we know, Canada has legalized recreational use of marijuana as well as medicinal, and so have several states in America. But that brings us to Mexico, because as of yet, Mexico has not legalized the recreational use of it. But the market opportunity is measured to be around $60 billion in Mexico by 2022. And this fund, I mean, this particular company has done its research, and they're looking at, in North America, really, a $50 billion market opportunity. So it's a huge growth segment. I mean, whether we like it, whether we don't, it's here to stay. The question in Mexico is, they don't quite know how to legislate it. You know, the Secretary of the Economy, Enrique de la Madrid, who's Mexico's Secretary of the Economy, came out last month and said, I want to go slowly, but I want to introduce it. And it caused a backlash in Mexico. That he even said states like Quintana Roo, where we have Cancun, Playa del Carmen, tourist states, you know,
tourist sites,
where, you know, obviously we've got to confront this. We've got to be open about this and say that consumers want this type of access to the product, right? So, but we haven't yet had it fully commercialized or legalized in Mexico. But I think you're going to see it happen. I really do.
Yes, I think so too in the future and nearly, because well, the world is already finding a way, the rest of the world, of really including the marijuana as a personal use, whether for recreation, and more than that, about it's a medicinal thing also. So yes, they probably could start like that, but in Mexico, as well as all the countries which are being developed slowly, then there's one big factor, which is education.
Yes.
And they must educate the people, because other than that, it's going to look like, okay, a buffet for children who are starving, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know, keeping it away from schools and keeping it away from people that are vulnerable, that shouldn't ever have that kind of access.
Exactly. So I guess if the people in general, the population gets prepared to receive that freedom, you know, for them to be able to choose at the time whenever it's necessary or something like that, then actually they can have the access, but they feel good about themselves and everybody's cool.
Well, this is it. You know, we're seeing this more liberal.
Money.
Absolutely. I mean, money makes the world go round. We're seeing more liberal. People are just not having that tendency to be so negative, perhaps, about marijuana. It's loosening up attitudes, right?
Exactly.
So we're seeing much more social acceptance of it. So it was time. I'm glad to see something like this in NASDAQ. It's something interesting for you to invest in. If you want more information about this as an investment, you can visit our website at kngadvisors.co.uk, and you can get more information about that from us. And we'll be talking more about that on Mexico News and after the break with more top stories. We'll see you then.